Hey everybody, it's Andy Blanks again from Youth Ministry 360, and I'm here with another teacher prep video. Now this teacher prep video is for our Engage series, and it's for lesson 2. So you kicked off Engage, which is a great study on how to engage and impact the world with the gospel. You kicked that off last week, and now we're going to build on lesson 1 and continue to walk students through this idea of the world versus God's kingdom. Last week you kind of introduced those topics, and we're going to really expand on that this week, leading to a point next week in lesson 3 where you're really helping teenagers begin to make this stand and begin to really influence the world, or to understand the call to influence the world for Christ. So this is lesson 2, and we're going to be looking at a passage from Ephesians. In this passage, Paul is making this great distinction, this great contrast from the world, between the world and God's kingdom. And what he does is he kind of firmly places us in God's kingdom as far as our identities go. But he makes a great point, and one that I think will really resonate with your students. He talks about this idea, this contrast. He says when we were dead in our sins and our transgressions, we used to follow the ways of the world. And he just, again, it's that idea in our old selves. We used to be dead in our sins and transgressions, our old selves, we were of this world. And then he comes back around and he says, but because of God's great love, he has made us alive with Christ. Even when we were still sinful, it's a great message for teenagers. We didn't have to get cleaned up, so God would be good enough to earn that grace. Because God loved us, rich in mercy, makes us alive with Christ. We've been saved by grace. And then there's this idea of this contrast again. Paul says we were seated with Christ in the heavenly realms. Okay, so there you go. There's this idea that we used to follow the ways in the world. We were dead in our sins and transgressions, and now we have been literally lifted up, and our life should be about heavenly things. And so as we're beginning this progression of these lessons, you introduce the idea in lesson 1. In this lesson, the application is we want to get teenagers to think about who they follow. Who they follow. Are they following their old life, their dead life? Are they still, embracing that dead way of life, or they're following Satan and the ways of the world? Or are they living out their new life? Are they living as kingdom citizens, as people who are seated with Christ in heaven? It's a great way to begin to plant that seed for calling them to a greater impact of the culture, which we'll get into next week. So I will see you on the next teacher prep lesson. If you have any questions in the meantime, do not hesitate to call or email. We'd love to talk with you. Hope your lesson goes great this week, and I'll see you on the next video.